a glimmer for Huddersfield just after half time, but then Adam Walton got sin bin, so that kind of lost their opportunity, I think, there at that stage. And when you've got some skill players like what's his face, Austin, and Ratchford out the back, and Darryl Clark. I mean, Darryl Clark against with an extra man is so good. Because he's so explosive and so fast. So they'll have made plenty of ground in that stage, and they did actually score a try during that period, and a try just as one was getting back onto the pitch, so it really did have an effect in this game. Wyre's goal kicking wasn't very good, which was another reason why the scoreline looks a little bit closer than maybe the people who saw the game feel like it went. But there's that one. Let's move on to Friday's other game, which you're going to take us through, Sarah.
Yep. So it finished St Helens 27, Leeds 22 after Leeds leading 22-10 at half time. 11,318 people watched it, and it was refereed by Robert Hicks,
which I'm sure we'll come to learn about in the fan reviews.
Yeah. So as for stats, this game had the most offloads of any so far this year with 36. St Helens were a little better without the ball, with a 2% better team tackle success rate. With the ball, they weren't as expansive or creative as Leeds, with 8 fewer offloads, 1 fewer break and 2 fewer attacking kicks, but made nearly 300 more metres at a big 2.9 metre per carry better average gain. There were only 6 penalties in this game, 3 committed by each side. Individually, Zeb Tyre made 156 metres, 2 clean breaks. Luke Thompson with 1 try, 5 tackle busts and 133 metres. Alex Walmsley got 2 tries and made 115 metres. James Roby with 2 try assists, 42 tackles and making 114 metres too.
And a drop goal, the first of his career.
And for the Leeds side, Conrad Hurrell scored 1 try, 1 try assist, 6 tackle busts and 158 metres. Trent Merrin made 119 metres and 4 offloads. Adam Cuthbertson, 113 metres. And Brad Dwyer with 1 try assist, 49 tackles and 2 clean breaks.
Dr. Bob Phillips was the first of the fan views we had on this game. Bloody hell, that was close. Proper trying hard Leeds, and a Stevie Ward injury to make it like 2017. I think every year of Stevie Ward's career, sadly. Genuinely closer than I thought it would be. Also, can we stop Walmsley playing the next game against us?
Jack, who I think was a Leeds fan, says, absolute jerk. Leeds have a bad first and third quarter, admittedly, but fully deserved the win until Hicks screws them with that knock-on call. Video ref not much better with a blatant double movement.
Sorry, I got to turn the page. Carsten said, what a game. When the teams spend the cap and have marquees, and you will see exciting games. Who would have thought that? Connie and Roby were the outstanding players. Lola here looks 10 kg overweight at least, and Robert Hicks probably can't decide what he has for lunch. Yeah, lots of video ref referrals. Oh, and thank God Alex Walmsley got rid of that old school moustache.
Archie says, these refs have it in for us this year. They're an absolute disgrace to the sport. However, our defence wasn't good enough. Thank good the 4 away games are over and we can go back to Headingley playing tin pot teams like Wakefield.
Shots fired.
Yeah, there you go, Chris Chester. Pre-match motivation.
At M9UHL. I think he sent an email to us this morning I need to get back to, so apologies on that one. I think it's Joshua. I think we looked better than we were. Our defence is poor all round, but Lola here was a big target, and for good reason. Once we exhausted the Hurrell is hard to tackle option, we have nothing but to throw it around. Ward needs to go. I know he is a great defensive player, which is what we need, but you can't tackle if you're not on the field. History of long injuries. Leeds will struggle. Everyone can get excited. I am not.
Oh dear, that sounds sad. Shoddy and Mungo, Alan says, thought this was a belter of a match, best I've seen so far this year. You can talk about individual referee calls until you're blue in the face, but the game was great.
Genghis Campbell, the early loss of Kevin Nguama must have been a big blow, but midget Frenchman Farge got Saints ahead with 5 minutes gone. Lovely break by Grace that led to the Lomax try, but after that, Leeds all the way in the first half. Walmsley punched through twice at the start of the second, and then Thompson put Saints ahead. Cheeky little inaugural drop goal by Roby added insult to injury. All in all, a great game.
Wakey White says, another great Leeds versus Saints game, really good to watch. Leeds look like they are going to be a real handful when they click, but Saints won it up the middle with some extraordinary pack work. Walmsley and Thompson showing why they are the best front row in the league. Myler was the pick of the Rhinos, and Hurrell's performance will give Chester some things to ponder before next week's game with them.
John Hamilton said, thought we were down 10-0. Thought we were done at 10-0 down after 10 minutes, but Leeds came alive and were easily on top going into the half-time. Lola here, more in control, and forwards continue to improve. Saints second half, Saints click up a gear, and Leeds did all they could to keep up, but slipped back into knock-ons and poor decisions. A couple of calls were tough on the Rhinos, but some spells of really ropey defence were more costly. Ugliest one-pointer too. Just got over.
St David says, well, that was a game of 3 halves. Total control and a deserved 10-point lead. 20 minutes when Leeds remembered LMS was at centre. Hurrell had us on turst, and Saints decided to chuck the ball on the floor a lot. After oranges, Holbrook moved Farge out to sort the defence, and the front row got mad. You don't want to make Big Al, Roby and Tomo mad. Oh, apparently there were a few controversial calls. 3 from 3 onwards.
Rich Wilkinson said, pretty gutted at the end. Ref's fault isn't my thing, but we were denied chances to win this game with some bizarre calls. Well, one wasn't that was particularly difficult to take, I think, for Leeds. Credit needs to go to Saints. Their front row was the difference. Saints' defence just about got them over the line. However, plenty to be happy about as a Rhino with solid performances all round. Hurrell and Watkins in the centres is looking deadly, but we must start picking up consecutive wins.
Frogmore said, had a great start until Leeds realised we were running a prop at centre. They sent Kearney down that edge and caught LMS out of position, and it worked for them. Second half, we showed it up. Big Al got us back into the game with a barnstorming runs. Thompson said, anything you can do, I can do better. What a combo. Oh yeah, how good is Roby?
Those three players, you can't even hate them, can you? That's the problem with it. Cutthroat Jake, what a game. That was the best match of the season so far. Perfect for the neutrals. As a Leeds fan, we were so close. Forget all of the moaning about the ref. The difference between the teams was Alex Walmsley. He was fantastic all night. Stick him in a Leeds shirt and the result would have been reversed. On our team, Hurrell's going to have a massive year, and hopefully Jack Walker will be fit for next week. Yeah, he went off late in the game, didn't he? Which is a bit of a worry for Leeds, although I'm not sure what the actual knock was, but it's a shame because he's shown a bit more toughness this year, Jack Walker. But anyway, a couple of injuries for both sides, and a lot of other stuff to talk about. So what did you make of it?
Yeah, I liked Conrad Hurrell. I think he is going to cause a lot of teams a lot of problems. He's drawing in several players in defence, isn't he? And then he's got quite a nice offload still. So I think that side of the park is going to be dangerous. It was a shame that Nagama got injured because it'd have been interesting to see what he could have done in the centres against him. But playing LMS there is never going to help you, is it?
What's going on?
Sorry, I've just had to move into a different room.
Good stuff.
Yeah, no, it was an interesting match because, as been alluded to, Leeds started off very well, and then Saints sort of woke up, and then the second half seemed to mirror the first half in that Leeds again started off well, but they didn't manage to post points on the board in the same way that they had in the first half. I quite respected Robert Hicks when he said, I'm sorry, I've made the wrong call, we're going to go back.
Yeah.
But then when you looked at it and you realised that actually he had made the right call and then he was making the wrong call,
well,
sort of made a bit of a mockery of it.
He'd made the wrong call because it shouldn't have been play on, because Saints did knock on after the Leeds knock on. But He then still gave the wrong call, but a different wrong call.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an interesting one. Do you think Leeds were going to score at that stage, though? Because to me, watching the game, I felt that Leeds' attack at that point, Leeds looked more tired with the ball than Saints looked defending, to me.
Yeah.
And I just felt like Saints had them covered no matter what, even though obviously it would have been a big opportunity.
Leeds got some maybe unfortunate calls by the ref, but as you say, I'm not convinced that even with hindsight and possibly the right or the more favourable calls, that they would have won it.
So the other one that I think would be pulled out was the Lola here going over, claiming a try, Atkins style, and then he just sort of left the ball behind, and the video ref called that as a knock-on, which was...
Yeah, I mean, that's a difficult one, isn't it? Because he was clearly trying to say, look, this is where the ball is, and therefore I've scored it. But...
play to the whistle, innit? If that's going to be the way that all similar instances are going to be handled this year, then I'm fine with that, because play to the whistle. I'm already a bit pissed off that he claimed the try that he never scored.
Against Castleford, when Maludi, I think it was tackled over the line, but it was given as the ball was taken out of his hand, and that was given as a loose carry. If they are putting more responsibility on the attacking player in those positions, as long as it's consistent across the game and across the season, you don't mind what rule they enforce, as long as it's enforced at every match.
Yeah, St Helens fans might argue that Johnny Lomax's try that was ruled out for obstruction should have stood. I was happy with the obstruction call. The attacking player ran a dummy right line and then stood right in the defensive line. And
again, it's the same implementation as it had been in our match against Castleford when Watts ran into Westerman.
Yeah.
It's a harsh call, but by the letter of the law, it's correct. And if that's how we're playing it, then fair enough.
And I think the attacking player has, to get out of the... not put himself in a position to obstruct defenders, and certainly Seb Taylor put himself right in position to obstruct defenders. So, yeah, but Saints fans would say that was a rough call, because the defender, Cam Smith, got across and had a chance to make the tackle and didn't do so. So I'm sure, every set of fans hates every referee and thinks they're biased against their side. So calm down, Leeds fans who've started petitions.
Yeah.
Who were your star men then? I mean, you've mentioned a few guys, but who do you think was the absolute, the star players in this game then?
I mean, you've got the Saints props that I don't know that you can necessarily pick between the two of them, really. They both made some big yards. They both scored tries.
Tries that probably should have been stopped as well. I mean, how many men did Luke Thompson beat? It was almost like it was almost like he beat nearly as many men as Luke Robinson, not Luke Robinson, as what's his bloody name? Robinson. Anyway, as he did, Billy Wiz did back in 1998 in the Grand Final, Jason Robinson. So and he's a prop forward doing that. But yeah, totally, I agree with you on the star players. What do you think stood out then as maybe the best highlight moments of the game, the things that were most exciting to watch?
I mean, I really enjoyed watching Hurrell play, to be honest. I liked that sort of big centre crashing into the line, drawing the defence in. What's he going to do? Getting the offloads away.
And actually, talking about Conrad Hurrell and how exciting he is, that try he did score was awesome, wasn't it? You're right to pick that out as a highlight moment. But talking about him, I think for us guys as neutrals as well, he's just going to be an entertainment machine, because he's good going forward, but he's got mistakes in his locker that we saw in this game. And actually, he made the mistake, didn't he, that there was a ball on the floor there to be picked up from a kick from St Helens that Leeds had marshalled pretty well, but then he couldn't pick the ball up. He threw it straight into Theo Farge's hands, who went over and scored the try. And maybe that's the final decision that potentially went in Leeds' favour, that Leeds fans won't forgive us for not... went